Jim Jones. Listen, let me tell you guys something. This is the craziest viral that I've ever been in my whole entire life, because I like wake up one day, I do my whole routine, read my devotionals and positive stuff, and then I go on my Instagram and I see like fake pages like, you took Jim, and I'm like, I didn't block the page. I said, who is Jim? Because the bitch is single, so I'm like, who is Jim? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they just responded back with like laughing faces. I didn't think anything of it. I have been in my bag creating, from my getting ready, relaunching my website, creating for my businesses, taking care of my personal business, my kids. Like, I'm so off the radar, and sometimes you get to a point in your life where, this is where I have been for the last few weeks, where God just kind of sat me quiet.
In the heart of a bustling metropolis where ambition frequently belies darker intentions, a tale of love and peril unfolded. Jim Jones was a charismatic and powerful man whose name echoed through the streets, yet beneath his alluring exterior lurked a network of exploitation and control. Brooke Bailey is a rising star in the fashion world whose career took off because of her persistent dedication and attractive appearance. Securing the contracts she wanted and making high-profile runway performances, but meeting Jim completely transformed her life. Began to alter as their relationship developed, Brooke was captivated by Jim's way of life, which included exposing her to high-profile gatherings, exclusive parties, and powerful circles. As time went on, the glitzy exterior began to fade, exposing the more sinister realities concealed beneath Jim's alluring appeal, but she still felt alive and thrilled by the attention and the prospects. She was first enthralled by his self-assurance and strength, and she was pulled into a fast-paced romance that promised passion and excitement. Love would soon give way to envy and rage, leaving Brooke feeling trapped and powerless. She often found herself justifying his behavior because she believed that love could make everything better. But she secretly felt a growing uneasiness, a hunch that something was extremely wrong. Then Jim's son came into the picture one fateful evening. Having witnessed the turmoil of his family, he was a young man enmeshed in his father's heritage. The temptation of power had influenced his early years, but he had also seen firsthand the terrible toll it took on others around them. After a particularly furious disagreement between Brooke and Jim, the son found her by herself in a secluded corner of a fancy celebration. As he talked, his eyes were filled with a mix of terror and resolve, and his voice trembled with urgency. "He will ruin your life if you don't leave him. I've witnessed it happen." He recognized the darkness that lay beneath Jim's endearing grin, and he knew that the son bore the weight of knowledge. "Nothing," man, his words sent a shiver down Brooke's spine and made her heart race. His sincere eyes pierced her self-assurance and revealed the frailty of her situation, which she had brushed aside. Although she was reassured by the danger whispers that she could manage Jim's unpredictable actions, the gravity of his son's warning now loomed over her like a menacing cloud, requiring her attention. Brooke fought with her decision for weeks, and every moment she spent with Jim felt like a smothering of the glitz and glitter she had once loved. Despite her internal conflict, Brooke made an effort to persuade herself that she could transform Jim, and that love would be enough to heal their relationship's wounds. But the longer she held on to that hope, the more she sensed the walls enclosing her and the son's warning resounding ceaselessly. She began to feel as though she was being held back to a life she had forgotten. She was filled with memories of Jim controlling her schedule, severing her friendships, and manipulating her under the guise of love. When Brooke saw Jim's smile captivate the room and everyone around him, she was at her breaking point. But when their eyes locked, she felt cold. She felt caught between the reality that was choking her and the man she thought she loved. This occurred during a particularly lavish celebration that was lively and full of glass clinking and laughter. Brooke took a deep breath and decided she could no longer stand the danger and would confront Jim. Something hung over her, and the next day, when she discovered him at his office, the atmosphere was tense because of unspoken comments. "Jim, I can no longer do this." She was determined, even though her voice started to falter. The encounter was explosive, and this is control rather than love. When he realized she was honest, Jim grew furious and tried to reclaim control by yelling threats and insults. But Brooks resisted, fortified by the lessons she had learned from her own experiences with his kid. As she departed Jim and his world with the burden lifted, she realized that the power he possessed was a mask that covered his fears. Brooke's determination to write her own story and recover her narrative had been as strong as the threat. She rekindled friendships, embraced her long-abandoned freedom, and poured herself into her career after finding renewed strength. Although there were challenges along the way, each step she took deepened her belief that love should finally be free from the trap. Brooke's story serves as a reminder that, despite the prevailing gloom, the light of self-discovery shines brighter, even in the most trying situations, illuminating the path to a future molded by her own choices. In the heart of a bustling metropolis where ambition usually belies darker intentions, Jim Jones was a charismatic and powerful man whose name echoed through the streets. Yet beyond his alluring exterior was a maze of deception and control. Brooke Bailey is a rising star in the fashion world whose career took off because of her persistent dedication and attractive appearance. Securing the contracts she wanted and making high-profile runway performances, but meeting Jim transformed her life. They were drawn into a fast-paced relationship that promised passion and excitement after she was initially mesmerized by his strength and self-assurance. As their relationship developed, Brooke became enamored with Jim's lifestyle, which included bringing her to glitzy events, private parties, and influential networks. The shiny exterior began to wear off over time, revealing the more sinister realities that lay beneath Jim's erratic anger. Brooke would feel helpless and confined, as his endearing displays of affection would swiftly degenerate into jealousy and anger. She often found herself justifying his behavior, believing that love could make everything better, but she secretly felt a growing uneasiness, a nagging suspicion that something was amiss. Horribly wrong, one fateful evening, Jim's son, a young man enmeshed in the turmoil of his father's legacy, came into play. He had grown up with power and seen the turmoil in their family, but he had also witnessed the terrible toll it took on others. He recognized the gloom that lay beneath Jim's charming grin, and he knew that the son bore the weight of knowledge. After a particularly furious disagreement between Brooke and Jim, the son found her alone in a quiet corner of a lavish party. As he spoke, his voice trembling with haste, his eyes were full with a mix of fear and determination. "You need to leave him," he stated, "because he knows how to break people emotionally and mentally and will make you feel like you're nothing if you don't." Brooke's heart raced as his words sent a shiver down her spine. His sincere eyes pierced her arrogance and revealed the frailty of her situation, which she had brushed aside. The danger whispers convinced her that she could manage Jim's unpredictable behavior, but all of a sudden, like a menacing mist, the gravity of his son's warning commanded her attention. Weeks passed while Brooke wrestled with her decision, and each time she had with Jim felt more oppressive. Memories of Jim controlling her schedule, excluding her from friends, and manipulating her under the pretense of love flooded her thoughts, and the glitz and glamour she had previously appreciated began to feel like chains tethering her to a life she no longer knew. Despite her internal conflict, each memory made her determination weaker. The more Brooke clung to the belief that she could alter Jim and that love would be enough to heal the rifts in their relationship, the more she felt the walls closing in on her. She was constantly reminded to recognize the truth that she had long ignored by the son's warning. When Brooke witnessed Jim's beautiful smile mesmerize the room and capture everyone's attention during an especially lavish party full of clinking drinks and laughter, she finally lost it. She shuddered as she felt trapped between the reality that was suffocating her and the man she thought she loved.